I don't know what kind of shit Donald Trump was smoking or drinking, but he's gonna make an utterly ridiculous comment about the percentage of the black vote that he believes that he can win. And he's made that same comment about the tremendous percentage of the Hispanic vote that he will win. But this particular segment is going to concentrate just on the black vote.
I think I'm going to get a tremendous amount. And you're seeing the stories where African-American leaders are saying, you know, my people really like Trump because I'm going to bring jobs back from China and Mexico and Japan and Vietnam and India and all these places that are taking our jobs. I'm going to bring jobs back. And a recent poll came out where I had 25% African-American, and the Republicans usually get about 4 or 5%. And one of the hosts said, if he ever gets 25%, this election's over. You might as well not run it. I'm going to do great with the African-Americans.
Well, you just saw two of Donald Trump's black supporters saying that he is the man. Of course, he is claiming that, hey, he can run away with the black vote. And a couple of African Americans who are in media also say that could be a possibility. In op-ed, Tavis Smiley wrote this in USA Today. Folks, pull it up, please. He said the following, that, come on, pull the graphic up, please, of Tavis Smiley's quote. What Tavis Smiley said is that everyone knows that in this presidential election cycle, conventional wisdom left the building long before the train ever left the station. Something tells me that if Donald Trump is indeed the Republican nominee, it might be a miscalculation for Democrats to assume that black voters are a lock for the nominee, even with the first black president and Barack Obama both campaigning for her, meaning Hillary Clinton. Goldie Taylor, who writes for the Daily Beast, said this: Trump cited a recent poll that says he stands to win a whopping 25% of the black vote in the general election. A man known for his unchecked bravado, Trump may be deluding himself when it comes to his ability to attract any significant share of the voting bloc best known for backing Democrats. But she did write in that piece that he's going to have to, if he gets 12% of black vote, that potentially could doom any Democrat running for office. And Ebony Williams, who's a lawyer, also a contributor for Fox News, she was on the air and she said this about her mama, who's a hardcore Democrat.
People who have never voted for a Republican in their life, including my own mother, will consider voting for Donald Trump because they believe that he understands the problem. That's kind of the first step here where we are now in today's society and political climate. They feel like he's not been a part of these historical problems politically speaking. He's clearly a Washington outsider. So those numbers don't surprise me. I think the left will be very, very afraid to run against Donald Trump.
Now, I just did a video on this coonette yesterday. She, if you're looking for her, go to oh man, what's the name of that Fox show with Harris Faulkner, Surrounded or something like that. But yeah, she's on with Harris Faulkner, and she's supposedly an attorney. She is also works with, I guess, or has done articles for Ebony magazine. So sorry about that. I just had to find out what the name of that program was. And the name of the show that she's on, it's called Outnumbered.
All right, folks, let's talk about our panel. Dr. Jason Johnson, columnist and analyst for TheRoot.com. Paris Denard, GOP commentator and strategist. Michelle Hudgens, a communication strategist. Dr. Wilmer Leon, political scientist and host on Sirius XM Radio. All right, folks, so y'all can say whatever y'all want about whatever that was. But there's this, so what do you make of what Tavis said, what Goldie Taylor said? Jason, you sent a tweet out that talked about an increase in black turnout in the GOP primary.
Yeah. So there was a huge increase in black turnout in both Virginia and Georgia's primary, like 400%. It went from like 2% in 2012 to 9% here in 2016 in Virginia, 3% to 7% in Georgia. And I think a lot of that actually is strategic voting. And you know, and I'm going to ask Ebony about this actually when I talk to her later, because I think a lot of those hardcore Democrats, many people I spoke to, they voted strategically. They went out and voted for Rubio and voted for Cruz.
Now, guess what? Guess what? I did.
There you go.
No, seriously. No.
I didn't. First an open primary.
No, it's it. I said, no, I voted 2 or 3 weeks ago in Texas.
Right.
I voted February 20th. And so, but also what I did was, it wasn't just about presidential race. What I did in Texas, I looked at the Democratic I did a Democratic ballot, Republican ballot. And I've actually voted Republicans in the past, so they say Democrats too. So I looked at it and I said, okay, I looked at the propositions that were on the ballot, on the Republican side and the Democratic side. I looked at the candidates and I said, I'm gonna vote in the Republican primary.
Right.
But here's what was a trip. When I walked up there, the white woman looked at me like,
They hesitated.
she went, you this one? I said, yes. Give me the Republican ballot. And absolutely right. Voted in the Republican, so right, strategic voting.
Yes.
And I said that, they were like, we can't talk about it. But they had, oh look, is this black man actually asking for a Republican ballot? Because yeah, my deal is, I want somebody sane in November, even on the Republican side, to go because Democrats, so Americans have a sane choice.
I did it a little bit differently. I actually went there, and my intention was to vote Republican. It was to vote for a Republican candidate against Trump. But then I thought about it, and I said, he's probably going to win anyway, and so I need to make sure that there is a candidate that is able to beat him, and I felt like the best opportunity was with another candidate on the Democratic side. That's how I voted. But I was right there, and like literally when they asked me, I was like it took me a couple of minutes. I had to think about it.
We have examples of this. This just happened in Mississippi.
Yes.
With Tad Cochran.
That's right.
We had all sorts of black people going over and voting in the Republican Senate primary because they said, look, at least this guy is just conservative. He's not a right winger. And I think that explains what a lot of this turnout is. It is hard for me to believe that black turnout jumped that high in Virginia and Georgia 48 hours after Donald Trump was palling around with a terrorist organization like the KKK.
It's important in this conversation to distinguish between open primaries where
Yes.
can take place, because that's why this
Precisely.
happened.
Right.
But I think the key point in Tavis's piece is that the Democratic Party, the adage always is high voter turnout favors Democrats, low voter turnout favors Republicans. Tavis's piece is Democrats cannot take anything for granted.
Right.
They better play this thing to win, whether it's Donald Trump, Rubio, Ted Cruz, whoever it might be. They better play this thing to win, or they could be singing a very, very sad song in 2016.
I think the African American community should always vote their interests and vote for the person that they feel has the capability to do what they need to do for our community. So if that person has to be a Republican, vote for the Republican. If that person has to be a Democrat, vote for the Democrat. But I just want to go back to Ben Carson. I think he's making a strategic mistake by not competing in a debate in Detroit tonight, because he could have been on the stage tonight in Detroit and bringing up issues that affect our community like no one else on that stage could. And if he's going to go out, I would go out defending and talking about our community, talk about Flint, talk about wage stagnation, talk about criminal justice reform, talk about these real issues, and then at the end of the debate, bow out. Because if you're going to not do the debate, but then you're going to go to CPAC, I think you're making a strategic mistake, and that should have been done.
I would agree with you, but up to this point, he hasn't done that.
Right.
So why?
Go out in the blaze of glory. Go out in the blaze of glory.
But you're asking him to speak to things that, as far as his language is concerned, is a foreign tongue. He hasn't said anything about any of those issues at any time in his entire life.
And he's not going out in a blaze of glory. He's going out in a blaze of cash. Okay? The man's never really been running for president. He's always been running to make money, increase money. Consultants have made money off of him. He has not spoken to a lot of issues that, forget the African American community, there's tons of issues that he hasn't spoken to during his campaign. So I don't find that the least bit surprising. And he didn't do anything to raise black turnout.
But again, on this whole idea in terms of, I was tweeting with Ebony Williams. I said, your mama lost her mind. But again, and I asked those two sisters, and this is very simple. I want to know what's his plan. See, when somebody says, I'm going to bring jobs back, if you haven't even brought the job that makes your ties, if you have not, as Donald Trump, brought back to America the jobs that makes your ties, your hats, your shirts, and your belts, I am not even remotely convinced that you have a plan to bring jobs back to America.
Roland, but you're under the impression that people care about the plan. It's more about how you.
I sure as hell care about the plan.
No. I know you do. No. But a lot of people are looking at this as a feeling.
Right. They're voting for John Wayne.
They're voting for someone who they perceive to be a leader, someone who perceives to be very strong and it's emotional. And I think the reason why President Obama got a large contingency of the black vote on the re-elect was because they did not feel that the economy was affecting him in a negative way. They said, let's give him another chance. I feel as if he can make a change. I feel as if that he can make a difference. And so people vote their feelings.
Donald Trump too, if he actually had anything in his own life that reflects what he's talking about. Exactly. He didn't hire nobody. Ask Randall Pinkston. He didn't even do well for black people on The Apprentice.
She told him to share with the other woman when he was the best.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, this is more what we're talking about. When we talk about people voting their interests, people are voting, for what's going on. People aren't looking at this as an actual issue. They aren't looking at Donald Trump as possible, but they're looking at this as a smart man, someone that we've seen, only because there's someone that they've seen, and the rest of these people are kind of unknown.
They know him and he's aspirational because
Okay. All right. Well, look, you can get fooled by that. All I'm saying is John Wayne was an actor.
There's a large.
Hold up. No. Ronald Reagan was an actor who became governor of California, who ran for president, who lost in '76, and who then ran in '80. So he didn't go from acting to becoming president. My point is, this is a reality show host who frankly has not articulated a consistent plan. You go to his website, you only got 5 issues. A real estate guy hasn't even said jack about housing, which is where Americans mostly deal with wealth. He didn't touch these issues, and so if they want to vote for John Wayne, okay, but guess what? I'm not going to support somebody who's praising the Russian leader Putin.
There's a large group of disaffected white people in this country
who are mad as hell,
who have found that their white that their white privilege is no longer a privilege for them. Donald Trump is speaking to those people.
And that's very true. Gotta go to a break right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. And it's exactly how the Klan was formed. People in the South had been decimated by the Civil War. Troops down there protecting the black people who were starting to get themselves together. The troops get pulled out. The Klan rolls in there and tells all the poor white people, the problem is all these black people down here, and we need to, get rid of them, do whatever we need to do, to get them in line or get them out of here. And bingo bongo, KKK, happy birthday.